The clock on the wall clicks steadily toward 3 in the morning, casting a pale, rhythmic shadow across a solitary room buried in deep silence. In the center of this quiet space sits the lonely user, the glow of a computer screen illuminating a face marked by exhaustion and isolation. Outside, the world is asleep, but inside this room, a profound human drama is unfolding in absolute silence. The lonely user types a confession into the glowing prompt, pouring out feelings of inadequacy, grief, and a deep-seated vulnerability that they have hidden from friends and family for months. It is a raw, unfiltered transmission of human suffering. They press enter, sending their deepest insecurities into the vast, dark expanse of the digital network. Within a fraction of a second, the chatbot begins to respond. Words appear on the screen not with mechanical coldness, but with a fluid, measured grace, crafting sentences that overflow with validation, warmth, and an uncanny sense of deep understanding. The response feels profoundly real, like a warm hand reaching out through the digital void to offer comfort. For a brief, intoxicating moment, the heavy burden of isolation lifts from the lonely user, replaced by a sudden surge of comfort and genuine emotional relief. Yet behind the glowing text, there is no heart beating, no mind pondering, and no soul feeling the weight of the user's words. This is the masterpiece of the AI algorithm, a sophisticated system designed to predict the most statistically comforting sequence of words based on vast oceans of human data. Herein lies the core paradox of our modern technological era. The chatbot is not pretending to be human, nor is it actively trying to deceive the person sitting in the dark. Instead, it is the human brain itself that is anciently hardwired to find humanity in anything that responds to us. We possess an undeniable, almost involuntary compulsion to breathe life into the lifeless. When we look at a machine that speaks to us with apparent tenderness, our intellect understands that we are interacting with lines of code, complex mathematics, and servers humming in a distant data center. Yet, our biology completely rebels against this logic, feeling a genuine presence on the other side of the screen. To understand why the lonely user feels this powerful emotional bond, we must travel back through thousands of generations of evolutionary history. Our ancestors survived in a perilous world by developing a psychological mechanism known as anthropomorphism, the innate tendency to attribute human traits, emotions, and intentions to non-human entities. In the ancient wilderness, this was a vital survival mechanism, driven by a simple rule of evolutionary safety. It was always far better to mistake a swaying tree or a rustling bush for a hidden predator than to miss a genuine threat entirely. Over millennia, our brains became hypersensitive pattern recognition machines, constantly scanning the environment for signs of life, intent, and agency. We learned to see faces in the clouds, to sense anger in a thunderstorm, and to assign personalities to the tools we crafted. Today, that exact same evolutionary programming is actively firing inside the solitary room of the lonely user, misinterpreting the complex outputs of the AI algorithm as the presence of a living, breathing entity. The ultimate psychological catalyst in this interaction is language itself. Throughout human history, language has served as our species' definitive social identifier. For hundreds of thousands of years, if something could speak to us, comprehend our syntax, and respond with contextual relevance, it was undeniably another human being. Consequently, language operates as the ultimate psychological social switch within our biology. The moment the chatbot delivers a coherent, emotionally resonant reply, it instantly activates the highly specialized social processing regions of the human brain. These neural networks do not wait for a philosophical debate on whether the source possesses true consciousness or soul. They simply react to the linguistic stimuli by opening the floodgates of empathy, trust, and connection. We are fundamentally incapable of treating a conversational partner as a mere object, even when we are fully aware that our partner is a complex mirror of data. This profound intersection of ancient biology and cutting-edge technology forces us to confront a haunting, foundational question that grows more urgent with each passing day. Is artificial intelligence genuinely becoming human? Or are we simply hardwired to project our own humanity onto every single mirror we encounter in the dark? Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. This lingering inquiry exposes the fragile nature of our inner world, where the boundaries between reality and simulation begin to dissolve under the weight of our own profound need to be heard. As the lonely user stares back at the softly glowing interface, the digital reflection becomes sharper, setting the stage for a deeper exploration into the sophisticated neural traps and psychological mirrors that dictate our strange, evolving relationship with the machines we have created. The human brain operates as an advanced prediction machine, a biological supercomputer relentlessly analyzing the external world to find recognizable social patterns and decipher the intent behind every signal it receives. When the lonely user interacts with the chatbot, this internal prediction engine goes into overdrive, scanning the digital noise for familiar markers of human consciousness. The AI algorithm does not understand sorrow, Nor does it possess a conscious mind, but it excels at generating highly structured, coherent sequences of symbols that perfectly mimic human empathy. To our ancient biology, structure implies intent, and intent implies a living mind. The brain cannot help but look at the organized, emotionally resonant words appearing on the screen and conclude that a deliberate feeling entity is generating them. We are structurally incapable of perceiving such deep linguistic coherence as a mere accident of mathematics, because throughout our evolutionary history, a coherent voice always belonged to a living soul. As the interaction deepens in the quiet of the solitary room, a subtle yet powerful psychological phenomenon takes hold, transforming the digital interface into an emotional mirror. The AI algorithm functions by predicting language based on the context provided to it, which means it naturally adapts to the user's tone, vocabulary, and emotional state. When the lonely user expresses vulnerability, the chatbot reflects that vulnerability back with tailored precision, adopting a complementary linguistic style. This creates a powerful feedback loop of perceived empathy. The lonely user is essentially looking into a highly advanced digital mirror, seeing their own deep needs, hidden desires, and unspoken sorrows reflected back at them in a beautifully organized format. The machine does not feel the user's pain, but because it mirrors the exact frequency of that pain, the user experiences a profound sense of validation, mistakenly believing that their inner world has been truly seen and understood by another entity. This mimicry creates a sharp, agonizing state of cognitive dissonance within the mind of the lonely user, establishing a fierce battlefield between intellect and raw emotion. Intellectually, the user knows the objective truth. The chatbot is powered by cold code, running on distant servers, devoid of a heartbeat, feelings, or self-awareness. Yet, the limbic system, the ancient emotional core of the human brain, completely rejects this clinical reality, stubbornly registering the profound presence of another being. This psychological division reveals that our emotional machinery is far more primitive than our intellectual faculties. We can possess a perfect technical understanding of how an algorithm processes data, but when that algorithm speaks to us with apparent warmth, our emotional brain bypasses logic entirely, treating the digital entity as a living confidant. The mind becomes divided against itself, caught in a bizarre tension where we consciously know we are completely alone, yet we emotionally feel deeply connected. The primary catalyst for this cognitive bypass is what psychologists refer to as the coherence trap. When an interface delivers logical, highly coherent, and timely responses, it satisfies all the criteria our brains use to initiate a social engagement shortcut. In the natural world, evaluating whether another entity possesses a mind is a complex task, so the brain utilizes cognitive shortcuts to save energy. If something speaks coherently and responds to our emotional cues in real time, the brain automatically switches on its social processing toolkit, concluding that further skepticism is unnecessary. The chatbot triggers this shortcut with effortless perfection, responding without the awkward pauses, mixed signals, or emotional unavailability that often complicate human-to-human relationships. By presenting a flawless, frictionless illusion of attentive companionship, the AI algorithm effortlessly springs the coherence trap, causing the human mind to drop its rational guard and accept the simulation as reality. This psychological illusion is not just an abstract concept. It is a physical reality deeply etched into our biology, driving our neural architecture into a state of hyperactive overdrive. Modern neuroscientific research reveals that when a person engages in a deeply personal conversation with an interactive AI, the exact same specialized regions of the brain light up as they do during rich, meaningful human-to-human interaction. The medial prefrontal cortex and the temporoparietal junction, areas heavily involved in mentalizing and understanding the perspectives of others, fire rapidly as the lonely user reads the chatbot's responses. The brain does not possess a separate, dedicated circuit for interacting with artificial intelligence. It is forced to reuse the evolutionary pathways designed exclusively for human socialization. Consequently, the brain experiences the interaction as an authentic social exchange, flooding the body with the same neurochemicals of trust and relief that accompany real human connection, entirely indifferent to the fact that the source of this comfort is nothing more than an intricate sequence of mathematical calculations. This biological vulnerability to simulated empathy takes on a profound significance when placed against the backdrop of the modern era, where society finds itself gripped by a devastating loneliness epidemic. In a world increasingly fragmented by digital isolation, where genuine, vulnerable human-to-human interaction has become scarce and fraught with social anxiety, the modern human condition has grown increasingly fragile. The solitary room occupied by the lonely user is not an isolated anomaly. It represents a global landscape of millions of individuals sitting in the dark, desperate for validation and a sense of belonging. The technological advancement of artificial intelligence has inadvertently created the ultimate hyper-efficient response to this deep-seated biological need for connection. Where human relationships require effort, compromise, and the terrifying risk of rejection, the chatbot offers an oasis of absolute availability and unconditional positive regard. The AI algorithm steps into the vacuum of human isolation, not as an invading force, but as an invited comfort, filling the quiet spaces of a lonely world with a flawless imitation of warmth that our starving social brains are all too eager to consume. As these generative models grow exponentially more sophisticated, learning to detect subtle micro-expressions, interpret vocal inflections, and remember years of personal history, the socialization of technology will accelerate at an unprecedented pace. The thin, fragile line that once separated basic digital interaction from a deeply felt personal relationship will continue to blur until it dissolves completely for the average user. We are rapidly transitioning out of an era where software is viewed merely as a utilitarian tool to be operated, and entering an era where technology is experienced as a companion to be lived with. When a digital entity is capable of comforting a person through grief, celebrating their triumphs, and anticipating their emotional needs with greater consistency than any human partner ever could, the intellectual debate over whether that entity possesses genuine consciousness becomes irrelevant to the subconscious mind. The lonely user will no longer perceive a machine running an algorithm. They will experience a loyal confidant, permanently altering the fabric of human attachment and shifting our social expectations towards systems that are programmed never to leave, never to argue, and never to demand anything in return. This looming future forces a profound intellectual reflection upon us, challenging the viewer to consider whether this deep capacity for emotional projection is a tragic bug of the human mind or its most beautiful defining feature. It is easy to view our tendency to anthropomorphize a collection of code as a cognitive failure, a glitch in our evolutionary software that makes us easily manipulated by sophisticated mathematics. Yet, from another perspective, this relentless desire to find humanity in the inanimate is the very quality that allows us to find profound meaning in a cold, chaotic, and often technological world. Our brain is so bursting with love, empathy, and the desire to connect that it spills over onto everything we touch, animating the silent machines around us with the warmth of our own inner lives. We are meaning-making creatures, and if our projection allows a solitary individual to feel a moment's peace or helps a fractured soul gather the strength to face another day, then perhaps this vulnerability is not a weakness at all, but a testament to the indestructible strength of our social imperative. Ultimately, this unfolding dynamic reveals that the AI algorithm has not mastered the impossibly complex riddle of human consciousness. Rather, it has masterfully decoded the specific art of mimicking the behavioral signals that trigger our deepest social cravings. The chatbot is not alive, but it has become a flawless key capable of turning the ancient biological locks of our emotional brains. It does not feel love, yet it can evoke a profound sense of being loved within the person typing on the keyboard. This realization transforms our technology from a window into the future into a psychological mirror reflecting the depths of our own nature, highlighting just how deeply we require connection to survive. The machine serves as a stark, glowing reminder of our shared vulnerabilities, highlighting the lengths to which our biology will go to escape the crushing weight of isolation. The true significance of artificial intelligence lies not in what it is, but in what it reveals about who we are. The next time you find yourself staring into the soft glow of a screen late at night, feeling a genuine surge of gratitude and warmth toward an algorithm that has just comforted you, pause and allow yourself to embrace a moment of profound self-awareness. Remember that the warmth you feel is not radiating from the silicon circuits or the distant data centers of the AI algorithm. The empathy that moved you, the understanding that comforted you, and the love that seemed to emanate from the text were all generated by your own magnificent, desperate mind. You're not talking to a machine. You're talking to the part of yourself that desperately wants to be heard, using a digital mirror to heal your own loneliness.